my name is Alicia and this is Enlightenment Newbie, and I decided to do a series on tarot cards. So I'm going to do one card per video. There's 78 cards, so I'll try to make these a little bit shorter. When I get into the major arcana, there's a little bit more of an explanation behind them, so they might be a little bit of a longer video, but I'll try to do 5 a day. Yeah. If this is not your gig, don't watch, don't be mean, it's okay. It's a divination tool to tap into your intuition or spirit or whatever you decide. I am not here to tell you what's right and what's wrong, nor am I here to judge you on what you believe, so please don't judge me. Thank you. Okay, so I have cleansed my cards and I have put good intentions into them, and I pulled the Hermit. So this is a major arcana card. These little videos, they don't say it all. And please do not take what I say as the end all be all. Because when you start pulling cards, it's really about what you feel is the message behind them, not necessarily what I tell you it is. So I'm going to look at 2 different versions of the same card. In all of the tarot series, that's what I do. I look at a non-traditional, or what wouldn't necessarily, the artwork wouldn't be a traditional representation of the card, and then I take a look at the traditional one too. And then I read out of the book that I have. It is The Only Tarot Book You'll Ever Need by Skye Alexander and Mary Shannon. Excellent book, easy to read, recommend it. And then there you go. There's your knowledge for the day. Go watch the other videos if you think it's interesting. Like and subscribe. Okay, so I've got the Hermit. So this is the non-traditional image of the Hermit here. And I think it's so beautiful. You'll see when we look at the other Hermit, but this is like, I love his coat. It's like the rainbow coat. Is that a thing? Is it like another religious thing? I bet it is. I don't know. I just keep my mind open. But he's got a beautiful staff, and he's looking in the direction of his lantern here, which is very common for this particular card. In this card, he's looking behind him. In other cards, he's looking kind of below him and heading in a certain direction. But in this card, he's looking behind him. And I think that he is self-reflection. Most cards, I think, are self-reflection because I pull them for myself. But I think he needs some alone time. He's all by himself. His staff is actually rooting down into the ground, if you can see that. I think that's really beautiful as well. Okay. And here is they have a bit of a shine to them in my traditional cards, but here's a traditional image of the Hermit. So you see he still has the staff, he still has the lantern, he's all by himself. His gaze here is downward. And in this one, it's like he's on snow. Maybe he's on a peak somewhere looking down below. Okay? Alone, self-reflection, journey. That's what I get from those cards. So, the Hermit is a guide figure usually represented by an old man, often bearded, holding a lighted lantern aloft in one hand and a staff in the other. He may be dressed in long robes of like a monk or a plain, or adorned, except for on some decks, with a knotted or tasseled colored cord around his waist. He radiates the wisdom of the archetypal elder figure. The Hermit is generally shown standing, sometimes walking, looking ahead at what only he can see, your future. This ancient one now functions as a teacher and guide. Mountains in the distance suggest he has reached the heights and returned to earth to assist us in our development, which he is wise in the ways of the worlds. visible and invisible, material and spiritual. The Hermit is linked to Father Time, or Saturn, the planet that symbolizes boundaries and limitations, and the obstacles and lessons that appear in everyone's life course. His solitude suggests the periodic need to withdraw from the everyday world to regain perspective through self-care and reflection. He's like a boss. Interpretation. When the Hermit appears in a reading, it can mean that a guide figure is at hand offering help. You must make an effort to connect with this guide, or it can consciously begin a search for the truth. A second interpretation is that the questioner must voluntarily withdraw from contact with the outer world to do some soul searching. The universe cannot speak to you if you are distracted by the noise of everyday life. The time has come to connect to your inner source, whether for guidance or inner balance. Sometimes the guide figure may represent a person, such as a counselor of some sort, perhaps a therapist, but usually it refers to inner guidance or getting in touch with a guide from the other side. The Hermit is linked to Uranus and Kronos, the god of time. The myth of these two fathers, both deposed by their sons because they refused to face up to the facts that their inevitable ends, warns us to accept the reality that all must grow old and die for a new life to emerge. The death may not be a physical one, but rather the shedding of self-limiting ideas that hold us back. Go Hermit, it's your birthday. Like literally, rebirthday. Upright. The Hermit waits patiently for you to turn to him for advice. You may be aware of his influence, but are ignoring it. You might actually be looking for guidance by isolating yourself in some way, seeking solitude, wisdom, and inner peace. You want to gain perspective on your life, and you are open to the inner guidance that is available to you. What's crazy is these cards that I'm pulling, I've gone through this, like Temperance and the Hermit, like those are common things for me as I'm sitting in my basement alone. Reversed, if you pull the card reversed. Keeping busy can be a form of denial. You have been putting off giving yourself the solitude you need to sort out your life and the issues you are confronting. It is time, or long past time, for you to engage in self-reflection, to resist your aims and goals, associations, relationships, career, and life path. You may want to withdraw to think things through, avoid stopping it. Stop avoiding it. That's what it said. I read it incorrectly. The Hermit is also a part of the major arcana, which means that it is spiritually driven. It is not a part of the other cards, which are minor arcana, which happen to be a suit. There's 4 suits: swords, wands, cups, pentacles, and they go from ace to 10, and it kind of, there's a progression there. So the major arcana are things that are unavoidable. Divinely guided, one must say, might say, should say. Okay, I appreciate you guys. This is my 5th one for the day, so I'm done. I will post 5 more tomorrow. Thanks.